Hi there, this is Callie, here to tell you about Virtel Web Access. Let's take a look at a couple of customer stories. Starting with PSA, the Peugeot and Citroën car manufacturer. In 2003, PSA decided to replace the costly global SNA network used to access their IMS applications with simpler and less expensive internet connections, while retaining the 3270 screen interface to avoid having to retrain the application users. With 400,000 end users accessing PSA's applications 24/7 in 150 countries through locally owned and supported workstations, a 3270 terminal emulation solution relying on client-hosted 3270 emulation programs or on middle-tier servers was not an option. Instead, PSA was looking for a pure thin client solution, one that didn't rely on any client app or middle-tier server, one that they could manage and support centrally on the mainframe hosting the IMS applications. Although the term BYOD had not been coined yet in 2003, clearly PSA needed a global BYOD solution. Among PSA's main concerns were response time and scalability. When they benchmarked Virtel Web Access, PSA found that it could deliver sub-second response times with up to 16,000 users per Virtel product instance. Together with the possibility to run multiple Virtel product instances in parallel, it guaranteed that Virtel Web Access could scale up as PSA would deploy it worldwide to their 400,000 IMS application users. Since its deployment in 2003, Virtel Web Access has been supporting an average of 3,000 concurrent sessions, with peaks of 10,000 concurrent sessions. Note that, at PSA, Virtel also supports a couple of localization services. It is used to automatically select at logon the language that the IMS application will serve to the user. It also automatically converts back and forth the double-byte characters of terminals used in China, Japan, Russia, and other countries that use DBCS terminals to the single-byte European character set used in PSA's IMS database. The three main takeaways from this customer story are: Virtel has the strength, capacity, and performance required to support very large deployments. Virtel has a long and successful track record with BYOD initiatives. And Virtel comes with integrated Unicode and DBCS support. Now, onto another BYOD case study with P&V Assurance. To access P&V Assurance's products, independent insurance agents had to lease dedicated Windows workstations from P&V. They didn't like having to pay a lease fee for dedicated workstations that could only be used to access P&V's CICS applications and that occupied precious space on their desktops. This being in Europe, many agents used Apple or even mobile devices for their own business needs, but P&V's 3270 terminal emulator didn't support anything other than Windows workstations. For P&V, locking the workstations to prevent the installation of new products was the only way to secure the access to their CICS applications and to guarantee the integrity of the workstations that they had to support remotely. Switching to Virtel Web Access allowed agents to use their own workstations and mobile devices to access P&V Assurance's products. It eliminated the dedicated workstations and the associated fees and freed up valuable desktop space. It allowed the agents to use Apple and mobile devices instead of Windows workstations. For P&V, switching to Virtel Web Access eliminated the need to support remote IT assets, allowed them to eliminate the VPN and cost and support requirements, improved the relationship of P&V with its agents, and made it easier to attract new agents. This was yet another typical BYOD initiative made possible by Virtel Web Access. The three main takeaways from this customer story are: Virtel is a thin client host-centric 3270 terminal emulation solution. It works with any web-enabled client device, which makes it a perfect solution in BYOD situations. Finally, on to a venerable 100-year-old Pennsylvania-based insurance company that specializes in workers' comp, property, and casualty insurance. In 2012, this insurance had to face the long overdue modernization of its 3270 terminal emulation. Unlike other organizations that rely on web portals or GUIs to drive CICS transactions, this company still relies on 3270 screen interfaces. All day long, over 1,000 employees drive every single business transaction through legacy 3270 screens. It makes 3270 terminal emulation a very crucial link in their business process. For years, the company had been relying upon one of the top-tier 3270 terminal emulators, which users were quite satisfied with. But the support and maintenance of that product had been dropped years ago, and the old client apps didn't work with the latest version of Windows or with non-Windows clients. Faced with the need to upgrade their workstations and to comply with a strict directive from risk management auditors, they contacted the vendor of their 3270 emulation product to reactivate support and to upgrade the client apps. They were shocked by the price asked by the vendor, a price that, we understand, included a stiff penalty for having dropped support years before. They were also reluctant to embark on the deployment and support of 1,200 new client apps. They decided to instead evaluate Virtel's thin client browser-based 3270 terminal emulation. One of the challenges of the evaluation was to support up to 6 concurrent sessions per user, and to manage those sessions in compliance with a special naming convention via a custom-developed Virtel script. Another challenge was to thoroughly verify that the Virtel browser-based solution supported all the 3270 emulation features that savvy employees had been using for years, and that the ergonomics of the new product didn't get in the way of employees' productivity and satisfaction. Virtel Web Access passed those tests with flying colors. In addition, it saved 80% in software licensing costs alone. It resulted in drastic support reductions because there was nothing to install or support outside the host, no client apps, and no middle-tier servers. Deployment was instant. All users had to do was point their web browsers to the installation-defined URL. It allowed eliminating the session manager and the VPN, and the associated licensing and support costs. Finally, it provided a future-proof 3270 emulation solution, one that will support instantly any new client technology in the future. This was a case of 3270 emulation modernization with cost reduction, support simplification, and future-proofing among the key benefits. The 3 main takeaways from this customer story are: Virtel instantly replaces legacy 3270 terminal emulators, it supports the latest client technology, and it gets the approval of 3270 terminal emulation power users. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you now have a better feel for how our customers benefit from a switch to Virtel Web Access. If you want to know more about Virtel Web Access or other Virtel products, please check our video library. Keep your mainframe front and center with Virtel.